Hello, welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. I recently got a mastery in the VK72K, a tank that I frankly really love. I know a lot of people that don't necessarily like this tank. I don't really quite get it. I am actually a little surprised I don't see the tank a little bit more. I get it a little bit just because of the other tier 10s on the battlefield, but this is a tank I wanted to highlight. This is a fun tank. In my opinion, it doesn't have the super fat side cheeks as the E100 can sometimes have, where you sometimes have to angle your turret armor sideways to not get penned right through the face. Not bagging on the E100, I also like the tank too. As a matter of fact, the E100 and the VK are tanks that I perform very, very well in. The VK I do have a little bit better stats in, with an average damage of about 2600 plus. So honestly, this is a tank that I feel like is maybe a little forgotten. I've seen some YouTube videos, and I know Bushka had mentioned, for those that know Bushka, and he did not like the the VK72 at all. And I personally really like this thing. I don't know, for me, I don't think this thing gets enough credit. Honestly, I think there's a lot of things about the VK that can really throw an enemy off when looking at it, just because even though it does have those slightly weaker sides, they are honestly, they can come across like quite trollish, and you have that massive gun mantlet, and there's not a lot for the enemy to point at and try to get shots, and especially when you're moving a little bit, you know, and side scraping in a smart manner, you're keeping that cannon, that nasty gun mantlet pointed toward him. This thing could be a really excellent heavy tank. You've got an extra 40 millimeters of frontal armor on your hull, which is super nice. And you don't have, like I said, you don't have those massive side cheeks that you do at the E100. You can be pointing at your targets and getting hits off, which is quite nice. I personally, I like the VK72, in my opinion, a little better than the E100, just because of that. Now, I know this thing has among some of the worst DPM of any other tier 10 in the game, but it really, like, because of the really good armor, I mean, you could just see I'm just bouncing such beautiful rounds now, especially like that when they're on my side, no, but when you get this thing forward facing, they don't have a lot of shots, and this thing doesn't have, in my, like, it's funny because you look at this thing under the armor inspector and you would think that this thing would have way more weak spots than it does, but I don't know what it is. If it's just like the angling, the curved of how it's like built, whatever. This armor can come across as very, very trollish. And that's the nice thing, is like right there, that WT would have probably taken a shot if I was an E100, just right at my face, but he probably didn't have a lot of shots. And you have that strong thickness of armor across a lot of your hull. The lower glaze of the tank is also pretty strong. So honestly, a pretty fun tank. If you have the VK72, I think this thing's worth playing. If you don't have it and you're grinding toward it, maybe this will give you something to look forward to. This is Stud Muffin 1986, and stay cool.